mentors, as you're saying, it's very important to have. But how do you get in front of those high value contacts that they can help you?
I say really wacky stuff. And this is a good example. I'll walk up and go.
Hey guys, so I just got done interviewing Don Ward, the Golden Connector. Now, Don is an awesome person who put a lot of value into this interview. And by the time the interview is done, I want you to connect with him on Facebook, on LinkedIn, see him through all the different meetups that he hosts. Because I'll tell you personally, I've gotten a lot of value just by being around him and connecting with the other people that he knows. So when you're done watching this, be sure to connect with him, and more importantly, show up to some of the events. It's a wealth of information, and I highly recommend you do it. So Don, let's jump right into what does Golden Connector and Masters Mentor do, or what does that mean, and what exactly do you do?
When I discovered the connecting gift had been strong for decades, but I had never noticed it as such. I just like people. But I had always been somebody to ask very interesting questions that opened up a conversation at a heart level versus what do you do? I mean, the truth is nobody really cares what you do or how you do it until they decide if they like your why and your who. Your how and your what are secondary. But I saw the impact in terms of the ability through great connections that I would help people make in building Fortune level teams around dreams that I could buy into that are worth dying for. There were three aspects of the connecting. One, I could help people to compress time. Two, redeem time. Three, accelerate time. So when you find connectors who have identified themselves and been identified as such, whether they're aware of it or not, those are three things they can do for your life. Master's mentor is I found myself mentored by great masters in my life. And then I ended up turning around and to this day, I spent the last 14. You hear me?
We're back.
Hey, all right, good. Okay. Life awesome. Goes on. Confrontations are your confirmations. So this proves we were meant to talk.
Right. So all that's great. There's a couple questions I have for you. The first one is, how do you find mentors? Because mentors, as you're saying, it's very important to have. But how do you get in front of those high value contacts that they can help you?
I say really wacky stuff, and this is a good example. I'll walk up and go, oh no, you're not walking by me. You're too important. I just feel the weight of the wealth inside of you. I would be honored to watch you in action in a boardroom. And then they look at you cross-eyed. You want to go to a boardroom and watch me in action? Who are you? Do you like boardrooms? Oh, I was born for the boardroom. But you just say whatever comes to mind, but you have to pursue the mentor. If a mentor pursues you, run like crazy. Because the only time a true mentor will pursue you is if they have an agenda for you. Mentors, you have to pursue. Coaches will pursue you. The reason is mentors sow into you and coaches sell into you. Coaches will always chase you, and they never chase above their pay grade. Mentors are always pursuing better mentors. Coaches are just pursuing people that they can take at least to their level, claiming they can take you further.
So you're saying if it seems too easy of an opportunity, or if the mentor seems very willing to help you out without knowing you, then there might be a weird dynamic of value there.
Yeah, well, first you have to sense that there's something about them that you just got to figure out what it is. And don't worry about trying to figure out what it is, but just walk over and go, I would be honored to have 5 minutes of your time. The principle is, if I walked up to you and we just met and I said, James, I'd be honored to have 5 minutes of your time. Are you going to feel insulted?
No.
So, but if you go up and go, I need 5 minutes of your time. Number one, you're going to repel. Need will repel money, opportunity. It'll repel potential strategic alliance and team members. It repels. So it will repel mentors too. But if you go up and go, I would be honored to have 5 minutes of your time. Maybe I could take you to lunch in the next couple of weeks. Very seldom are they going to say no.
Okay.
So it's not hard. It's a matter of just identifying when you're in front of somebody, you're going, man, I'd like to have a degree of their success or a degree of their wisdom or their charisma, whatever it is that you see that you're identifying with. you have to pursue it. Pursuit is the evidence of desire.
Hmm.
The mentor is looking to see if you're pursuing, because if you are, then they're gonna bring it down to this: are you pursuing me for what I've earned, influence, access, wisdom, resources, or are you pursuing me for what I've learned? And if they can gauge that your heart is you're just hungry to learn, a mentor will never turn you down. Mentors aren't hard to get, but most of us sit around. I remember I was doing great things in a different industry at one point, and I go, they must see who I am. Look what I have, 630 locations. I'm all over the country. And there isn't even the internet, because there wasn't a such thing. And so I didn't even know what that was because it didn't exist. But they should see that, look at that, I got something. They should want to mention me. No. It doesn't work that way.
So you kind of described out that there are coaches that will try to sell to you. Are there any other metrics that you use when determining who you want to pursue as a mentor? Are there different things you look at before you try to pursue them?
Well, just about anybody's reputation will precede them. But yeah, you do your due diligence and you go, okay. Matter of fact, yesterday, somebody that I mentored 3 years ago, who's now on an international platform, international bestseller, has a TV show and all these things. I had her come speak at CEO clubs. It's like having a daughter come in. And I was learning stuff I didn't even know had happened in her life in the last 3 years on personal levels that she shared. And it was really great. But she even said, don't ever take on a mentor or a coach until you know who their mentors and coaches are. And I said, Melody, perfect. That's exactly right. People can't lead you any place they've never been.
I love that.
Millions a couple times and lost them a couple times. And I'd rather hear that somebody has made them and lost them and made them and lost them than all that I got to hear is their success story. Because they're not mature enough to be a mentor. A mentor has always faced the eye of death. A coach probably seldom has, because a coach has bought into a system or created a system based on their concept of what will work. But they typically have a lot of knowledge and not a lot of understanding. Mentors will have more balance of the two. And you're never going to produce wisdom or wealth without a balance of understanding and knowledge. You can have too much understanding and not enough knowledge, or too much knowledge and not enough understanding. You're going nowhere. That's the power of having the team, because if it's not your genius, it's not your job. So you build your team with people whose geniuses complement and fulfill and supplement where you're weak. The best leaders know their weaknesses and are going, hey, this isn't me, man. Did you do this? Richard Branson just goes out. A friend of mine just got back from his island and spent 6 days with him. And he told him what I thought he was going to say, but he said that, listen, I see a great idea. I go out, I basically buy the best people, and I say, here's a piece of the action. Go to it, guys. Have fun. He walked away. He recognizes, just build the team, recognize the opportunity, and whether you know anything about it or not, say yes.
Wow.
That's Branson's formula. Just say yes. If it's a good idea, go find people that can do it.
Yeah.
Give them a piece of the pie.
Wow. There's so much to that. I can't even reply to each of those things that you just dropped, which is awesome. But let me segue into networking.
Okay.
You mentioned one piece where you're talking about saying something crazy or something off kilter to get people's attention, and in the context of networking. So tell me about networking, and obviously segue into the kind of groups that you're part of and that you host, and
Okay.
how does is networking for everybody? How should they approach it, et cetera?
Networking is supposed to be for everybody by, I think, divine design, because nothing happens without relationships. So relationships are the pipelines through which all blessings and curses can flow. So watch out who you're building your relationships with. I mean, the other day someone was going, well, the boogeyman doesn't have a relationship with God. I go, yes, he does. It's just not a good one. And the point is, though, I look for people that I'm resonating with. They're givers, and you can always tell if you go to a networking event and the first 3 people you talk to, you go, hey, and you use your pickup line of the moment. What are you working on? What do you need next? Or you might say, what's your dream? What's your passion? What's your purpose? I was recently networking with about 50 people whose net worth was about 500 million average. And I went to the event, and I went with a friend who was a member of the club. And he goes, I need you to network for this project you and I are doing in Honduras. I go, okay. He goes, but these people don't need anything. So, there's certain questions you don't. I go, I'll be fine. So the first thing that comes out of my mouth, I walk up to the first guy and I go, so what's the problem you've already solved for mankind? And he looks at me and goes, damn, that's the best question I ever heard in my life. Have you ever asked that before? I said, no, I kind of like it myself. That was good. He goes, you want to hear my story? I said, I'd be honored to hear your story. So he starts telling me his story because everyone wants to tell their story. This other guy walks by. He goes, John, come here. This is Don Ward. This guy just asked me a question that I want him to ask you. So I turn to that guy. So what's the problem that you've already solved for mankind? He goes, you really want to hear that story? I'd love to hear that story. I'd be honored to. This went on for 2 hours. My friend spent an hour and 20 minutes with one person, 40 minutes with the other. He comes over to my side of the bar, and he goes, you have a good night? I turn around to all these people and go, did we have a good time? And I go, and they're like, yeah. I said, how many of you? And I have already made up an appointment for over the next 3 weeks for a one-on-one. All these hands goes up. He goes, what the crap did you do? I said, I just asked one question, and the question they kept forcing me to ask the next person the same question. So there's different questions you ask depending on where you are. That's called vertical networking, when you're networking way above your pay grade. But if you're going to work above your pay grade, you never ask them what they need. Because even if they do have a need, they're too prideful generally to tell you, because who are you? So ask them about their story. What's your why? What's your purpose on earth?
Very cool.
Yeah.
So tell me about the networking groups that you're part of. And there's a really cool thing that you're doing. I'm really excited about it myself, called CEO Clubs. If you just tell me what you're doing briefly there, and let everybody know what's happening.
Okay. Well, I have basically 4 tiers, and there's soon to be 6 tiers. I've got 2 things I'm birthing right now. They're going to be big national brands that are backed by, one is backed by CEO Clubs, and one I have other kind of backing for. But ABC Business Connectors was around before I came into the picture, about 12 years. And then back in 2014, somebody was trying to take it over and steal it from the gal that moved to North Carolina. I knew him. I knew her. I solved the problem. They said, hey, Don, you're not holding events right now. I'm going, no. You thinking about it? Sure. Where would you do it? I told them, and they said, okay, when would you do it? I said, let's start next week. We had 53 people at the first meeting. And I said, let's just make my group, it was ABC Business Connectors, and you can find it on Meetup. So it's a meetup, and it's grown now. There's 2,319 members as of yesterday morning. And there's probably new invites to join today. But it's business connectors and hubs. Hubs, I define the world as you have hubs and you have spokes. Hubs are people that have influence in at least one area. If they have influence in a lot of areas. But meetups are mostly for order takers versus decision makers. But this is a meetup where there's some decision makers in the midst, and it helps you to bypass the need for gatekeepers. The next tier up is a mastermind I run called Dreams, Teams, and Funding Themes. Next one is next Wednesday here in Heathrow, Lake Mary. Your Office USA is an incredible virtual office facility. I'm in it right now. And they provide me boardrooms wherever I am, whether it's downtown at the Plaza or here or in 8 other cities. And then that's my tier 3 kind of early stage development companies. Then the next mastermind group is tier 2 CEO Clubs. Now, CEO Clubs is a 41-year established CEO global mastermind network. It's the oldest and largest CEO network in the world. And so that's a whole different thing. Trump and T. Boone Pickens are members of those things. And so there's a lot of big old money in the old clubs that are 30 and 40 years old. Here in Florida, I've had it here since, I think it was October 2016. So, actually it's been longer than that. So it was March of 2016. So 2.5 years plus.
Mm-hmm.
And anyways, it's been really growing. It's a great community. It's a mastermind network. We come together to share who and what we know in real time. Tier 2 is for companies doing $2 million and under. That's anybody for the price of a ticket or price of a membership can have an advisory board that is C-level. A lot of the people in our tier 2 had made millions before, sold those companies, and now they're starting new companies. So, they consider themselves early stage because they're making less than $2 million. And my tier 1 is for companies that are doing $2 million plus. I'm bringing in a new brand that's going to be called Chief Executive Counsel, 10 million annual sales plus. That's the company's. And we have a very unique way to market to them, a completely different brand, different business model and price point. Much lower price point, but it's more event driven and you pay more for the events. But I bring in, because of a different season of my life when I made a lot of friends that were Fortune 50 to Fortune 500, that were trainers or CEOs, one or the other. They, as a favor to me, they do trainings. If they're not in Orlando and somebody isn't paying them big bucks, then they'll do them by Zoom or Skype like you and I are doing right now. Mm-hmm. And they'll do a training for an hour. And, most of these guys are $25K a day trainers. You can't buy that. So to me, it's you have to be able to, education has got to be an element. So in both my CEO clubs and my dreams teams and funny things, there's an education component. But even my meetup is the only ABC Business Connectors meetup where I always have a speaker, because I want people to walk away with something more than one new potential relationship. If you can, like you're doing right now, and you're asking me questions. I love to share. And if I can help somebody else, I've paid the price. I know what it is to lose everything a couple times. And I mean, the last time was everything. And the comeback trail is where all the learning is and all really the fun is. But you have to forget about what it appears you're going through, and you have to keep your eye on where you're going to. Because if you've done it once, you can do it again. Wow.
That's awesome. So I just have a couple points to wrap up everything. So first of all, guys, if you haven't noticed, Don is very well networked. He's met with a lot of very high net worth people and high value people. So he understands the networking game. But more importantly, he's heavily invested and involved in all these networking groups, all these mentoring groups. And, Don, I got to say, I would be nowhere close to where I am if I had not had mentors around me. It is, I attribute pretty much everything that I've done to mentors. I had to get an office. When I hired employees, I had to figure out how to do all that, and I couldn't do it myself. There's just so much that can go wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm 100% on board with having people that you surround yourself with, and also have other people that you can help as well. So guys, the groups that Don's talking about is incredibly valuable. Each one of them. I've been to quite a few of those, and they're really great. So you definitely need to check them out. So Don, what's the best place for people to check you out, first of all, and connect with you? And then also, how do they get to all these groups?
Well, the best thing is go to LinkedIn, Donald Ward, and or to Facebook and connect with me there. Mm-hmm. There will be, right now this week, we're working on a whole new DonWardConsulting.com site. So we'll probably have that rolling here in the next couple of weeks. And that's going to be a lot of added value, because I'm bringing in a lot of these top players, and we're going to have so much value add to it. We'll probably do it as a paid subscriber site. And then plus we have a mastermind reality show called Above Sea Level, which is it almost explains itself. C being C-suite, CEO, CIO, COO, CFO. So above sea level, because I believe that the wisdom that people need is coming from above there. So, there's a spiritual context, but it's a secular group. But, real wisdom was always around. We're just bumping into it on a day-to-day basis. And you've got to find the people that are manifesting the fruit of wisdom, which is honor and riches. That's the fruit of wisdom. So you ask me, how to identify a mentor? I look for the fruit. Does their reputation precede them? Well, there's the honor. Or somebody goes, oh, we're honored tonight to have so-and-so here to speak. Okay. Automatic mentor possibility. So, and if they're manifesting wealth, or you just hear wealth come out of their mouth, maybe they've lost it like myself a couple times, but you can hear the wisdom. The wisdom is money, and they're speaking out of, they might say something to you like, silver and gold have I done, but what I have, I share freely. And when they're sharing freely, there's stuff coming out that can impact lives. Change your bottom line. That's the bottom line.
Very cool. Well, Don, we're just wrapping it up. So thank you so much for coming on here and talking to everybody, and, spreading the value that you have and the information that you know.
All right. That's what we're supposed to do in life. And so, I appreciate you, James. Thanks so much for always being in pursuit of more.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay. Hey, thanks.
Yeah.